And welcome to another episode of the Rorschach Test Podcast. I am your host, Tyrell James. Today I have a special guest with me, DC Glenn. What is going on, man? How you doing?
Doing wonderful, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. I'm excited about this. Been looking forward to this
All right,
interview.
all right. Let's do it.
You were such a big part of my childhood, so I was definitely looking forward to to doing this interview, man.
Here we go. It's all good.
Don't worry, we're not going to dig too deep into all of that stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if it's your first time watching my show, what I do here, the Rorschach Test Podcast, is I put a series of Rorschach tests or ink blots up for my guests, and I ask them what they see. So based off of what they see, I connect it to their passions or to what they do for a living, and just who they are as a person. So I'm going to let DC Glenn explain to you all exactly who he is and what he's done, and then we're going to go ahead and get into all of these pictures. Okay.
Well, my name is DC Glenn, aka DC, the Brain Supreme of Tag Team, and I made the song "Whoomp There It Is." Also made the commercial "Scoop There It Is," and got a whole bunch of other stuff coming that's going to keep Tag Team embedded in your brain forever. um, I am a motivational speaker. I'm an actor. I am a voiceover artist this week on NBC. I am a SEO specialist in digital marketing. And I just am a well-rounded person because I love to hustle and I love to learn. And you put hustle and learning together, you're unstoppable.
Absolutely. I love that. I
Mm-hmm.
love that. I think I normally put a quote before the show when I'm doing my editing. I have a quote from the guest that I feel kind of like sets the tone for the show. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's going to be it right there. So
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Yeah.
Uh, Okay, so what we're going to do is, so now I sent you these pictures a little while ago. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully you remember exactly everything that you said you saw on these pictures.
Hey man, it was spontaneous. I might see something different today. You never know.
Well, I hope not
All right,
because I
I
built
can
these.
explain what I was doing because I put thought into it.
Okay,
And I
okay,
had a
all right,
little
cool.
fun with it as well. So
Okay, so we're going to start right here.
mm,
Okay, so what did you say you saw here?
I don't even remember, man. You gotta tell me.
So you said you saw two seahorses about to duel.
Yeah. Because I mean that took me back to my childhood because we
uh,
used to have seahorses, right?
okay,
So I probably was missing my father because he passed away a couple years ago.
okay.
And just me seeing that right there, kind of brought that back to me, right?
Hmm.
So it wasn't a thing of sadness. It was just something that popped in my head real quick. And you know, I it's crazy because ever since my father passed, it feels like him and the Lord is just guiding me in ways
Hmm.
that I can't even explain, right?
Right.
And I'm forever grateful for it. And it's like he's taking care of his son as in life, in life as in death. And I just I love, when I talk about my father, I feel a little guilty because I have been so blessed to have a father for 54 years of my life, right?
Hmm.
And a lot of people, I don't want to say most, but a lot of people haven't even had a father.
Right.
So that's why I feel it is my mission and my responsibility because I have been blessed to teach everybody the things, or not teach everybody, but just talk to people about the things I wish someone had talked to me about when I was a young man, right?
Right.
And just give everybody the lessons and the knowledge that my father gave me because he was a great man. And if I could do that, maybe I can make somebody's life a little bit better. Maybe
Hmm.
something will click. Maybe they can get a little inspiration to move forward and do the things that they wish for in life and help them. So that's why whenever my father pops in my head, I have to talk about it, right? Because
Right.
that's what I'm all about.
Yeah. I get it. I understand, man. I lost
Hmm.
my father too, so I get it. I definitely understand that. Yep. Hmm. So, okay, now you mentioned your childhood. So now I do want to go back to childhood here with
Mm-hmm.
these seahorses. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So seahorses, one of the interesting characteristics about seahorses is they are able to camouflage well.
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you as a kid, were you one of those kids that wanted to just hide and camouflage and not really be seen? And if so, why?
Hell no. I was hustling. If anything, I was flexing my feathers. You know what I'm saying? Because
Okay.
seahorses, when they're in full bloom,
Hmm.
are out there flexing.
Right.
You really look right now. For me, I had a great childhood. All we did was play. I was always happy. I had an incredible childhood, and I was raised by a community of people who looked out for us. I had tons of friends. We got to play. We got to
Hmm.
ride bikes all over the city, take the bus. All we had to do was be back home by dark.
Uh-huh.
And, as a child, the one thing I really admire my parents for is that they worked us like a dog. I've
Hmm.
been I've been stemming collard greens and shucking peas since I was 5 years old, right?
Okay.
And my mom had a prep cook, but they made us do chores. My father made me cut the grass, mow the lawn, rake the leaves, shovel the
Mhm.
snow, wash his car. Mom made me wash the windows. And I'm so grateful for that because as a grown man, I don't fear work.
Right.
And there's nothing I don't think that I can do because I'm willing to put in the work to do it.
Hmm.
So, you know, the seahorse thing was just something that I saw, you know what I mean? And I remember we had them when we were kids. Because my dad thought it was cool for his sons to have some seahorses along with the other fish.
Okay.
Right. So that's what that was about.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the other thing about seahorses, they have very unique markings on them.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me something that's very unique about you that most people wouldn't even know.
Hmm. I mean,
Are you pretty much an open book?
I'm an open book. It's
Yeah.
like I mean, I thought you were gonna ask me, do I have any tattoos? But I don't have any tattoos. Everybody knows me for the thing that I do the most, which is hustle. Because in life, people talk all the time,
Hmm.
but the best way to show what you're made of is to be the example.
Right.
All I can do is control what I do, right? I
Hmm.
can't control what everybody else does. So if I'm around people, if I'm not looking for anyone to do anything for me, and I realize that no one is ever going to give me anything. So what
Hmm.
I do is I put everything on my shoulders and I say, let's go, because nothing is going to stop my money,
Right.
period.
Okay.
Right. So, you know, maybe I should have been a shark. I'm going to eat, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to eat for real, so
It's
that's
funny. I got two sharks in this tank over here.
yeah, man. Maybe we should have two sharks instead of two seahorses. But you
Uh,
know that has been my existence, right?
mhm.
I'm a hustler, man. I love to work,
Right.
and I want it to be hard because I know everybody else not gonna do it.
Right.
So if I get to do it, then everything is custom to me. You can't even copy me, right?
Hmm.
And it has always been like that with me because I DJ'd in the clubs, and in the clubs they used to let us hustle. And I always had 10 hustles, but I had one hustle, and people see me making money, be like, I'm gonna take his hustle. Then they finally take my hustle. They're like, haha, I took your hustle. I'll be like, congratulations.
I got another
Got
one.
9 in the hole.
Right.
Right. I don't play. I don't
Hmm.
play, man. It takes a lot of mental fortitude and a lot of mental creativity
Hmm.
to do the things that I've done in my life because they are very difficult.
Right.
But I've done them.
Hmm.
And I am very proud of my hustle.
Hmm. So, well, speaking of hustling, let's talk about acting.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, still sticking with these seahorses. Um, the thing about seahorses, they have a very big appetite. So, I want to talk about your appetite when it comes to acting. Now, I just saw you on P Valley.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we've seen you on the Geico commercial, but I want to know what are you trying to consume? How big is your appetite when it comes to acting? What is your end game?
Mastery. I care less about money.
Mm-hmm.
I care less about being a star.
Okay,
I want to be a masterful actor.
gotcha.
Right? If I get better at acting day by day, because acting is the long game.
Right.
I get better at acting day by day. I'm getting closer to mastery. You're never going to reach mastery, but you can get close.
Right.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
that's all I care about with everything I do. Mastery. So whatever it takes. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I've been through every course. I've been through every coach in this city. I'm in Atlanta. Right. And then when all the people when all coaches come from LA and New York, I'm right there and I befriend them. I network with them. Then I end up being their friends. Then I end up working for them. I have tactics from my club days. I've been a promoter all my life. Right. But, you know, all the things that I've learned how to do, you know, help with acting. But
Right.
I started voiceover in 2009 and I wasn't even thinking about acting. Right. And voiceover was very difficult. But I never quit. And in 2017, I had signed with an agent called the People Store. They're still my agents. And the owner came in and her name was Rebecca Schrager. And she, I introduced myself and she was like, I love his face. Put him on camera. And I was like, okay, cool. And the head of commercial, he was like, dog, that'll never happen. I said, well, what do I do now? He said, get you some headshots and get into class. And once I get into class, I'm hooked. And I'm in class every day, sometimes twice a day, every workshop. And, the workshops are the best place to go because for me, learning about acting is learning what not to do. So I listen to those casting agents and I listen to those agents and they're like, they don't want you calling, asking, how come I'm not in Black Panther? How come I'm not auditioning for Black Panther? You know what I'm saying? So I learned from other people's mistakes and,
Right.
you got to let people see you hustle. Right. So perfect example. If I call my agent, I'm like, hey man, first off, I don't want nothing. I just want to thank y'all for riding with DC. It's like, DC, you called me for that. I was like, no. I got, I'm trying to see something. I'm in this class Monday, this class Tuesday. I did this workshop Wednesday. Got 2 classes on Thursday. This class, and I'm dealing with her on the weekends. Am I missing anything? And they're like, DC, if you don't get off this phone, right? And it's like, no, I'm just making sure because I'm trying to make us some money, right? And what they don't understand is that I just let them see me hustle.
Right.
Because I told them exactly what I was doing. I showed them I'm putting in the work. Is there anything I'm missing?
Right.
And I said, I didn't ask them, what can you do for me? I'm like, I'm trying to make us some money.
Right.
And they appreciate that. And now they didn't even, back then, they even know who I was. It's just, those are my tactics, right? And I realized that, people think, well, if I'm paying an agent 10%, well, then they got to do this for me. And I was like, no, because your agent submits you. It's up to you. Your headshots got to be on point. Your headshots got to be so good. And that's what the workshops do. You get to be with the casting agents. Right. And I ask those casting agents, look, what is the hierarchy? How does the whole thing work? They say, okay, well, somebody submits a script or a producer buys a script and it gets greenlit by the movie studio. Then they have to go and the producer has to put all the parts together. They have to find a director. They have to find the casting director because they need all the actors, right? And then once you find the casting director, what does the casting director do? Well, the casting director goes through a whole bunch of, puts it in breakdowns. And then all the talent agents submit. Then the casting director goes through all those submissions and looks at all those pictures. And they're trying to do what all they're trying to do is fill the role, right? They got 150 roles to fill. All they're trying to do is fill the role. So they're looking at your picture. Will he fit for this? Will he fit for that? Will they fit for this? Then they take probably out of about 2,000, they might take 50 and then let them audition. Right? Then they whittle it down to 3. They get callbacks. And then that's who gets that part. Right? So if most actors think, cast directors think, it depends on can I act or not. Right? And acting has nothing to do with it. You have no control over what they do. All you can do, and this is a mindset thing. I don't get emotional about auditions. I can't wait to do an audition because I just want to do the best that I can. And I'm trying to help the casting director do their job. So if I can put on a good audition, I might not be right for this part because I might be too black. I might be too old. I might be too light. I might be too short. I might be too big against the other co-star. Right? I might not be the right fit for the part. I might look like somebody's ex-husband. I look like somebody's father who beat him. Once you audition, it's out of your hands.
Right.
All you can do is have the mindset, I'm going to help them fill this role. Because they're not thinking about it. Cast directors want actors to win. Right?
Right.
Once I figured all that out, everything changed. And then sometimes it takes, staying in class does it a lot. And sometimes it takes 13 times for something to stick. And I'll never forget it. Natalia Lewis was one of my coaches. She was like, I was doing a scene in class and she was like, DC, why are you talking so loud? The person's right there. And when you're on set, you're going to have a microphone on. You basically can whisper. I was like, oh. And that changed the game. Because now I could just whisper. If you look at television when people are talking, they're whispering. They're not talking loud because there's a microphone on them, right? So I break things down like that. Like you breaking down these Rorschach symbols and how you just breaking it down. I break it down like that and reverse engineer things. And now I know what my mission is. My mission is to hustle, to learn how to learn. So how can I become a better actor? And it's basically the reps, right? Put yourself in a position where if you're expecting something from people, it's not going to you're lost.
Right.
You just have to put your ears down and grind. It comes to you. That's been my formula anyway. And I try to tell people, you got to learn the game. See, acting there's the art of it, right? And there's the initial part of it. Then there's the game. Right? There's the hustle. Right. So once you learn the game, then you get to put your creativity to the game. And once you put your street game to it, it's custom to you and can't nobody else do it. And that's why I have been successful. And I started acting in 2017. I got 10 credits under my belt. Now that first year I was like, man, ain't nothing happening. What's going on? But boom, boom, boom. Because I was a baby to it. You know what I'm saying? And everybody thinks they could be an actor. But once I really sat down and just said and broke it down and just really asked people questions and just immersed everything I could in acting, my voiceover got better. How I see things in life got better. Because I get a script, I could care less about remembering the lines. I'm throwing it in the AI and I'm letting the script read to me. Then now I know the story after 3 runs. What's the story? And if you know what the story is, the words don't matter because you can, if the person's talking to you, you can react and just use your own words, right?
Right.
And that's the part of it. That's the realness of it, right? That's the real. And then you just say what you feel. Then you look at the script. Okay, I gotta say this. Then you say what you feel again. It ain't about remembering the words. It's about understanding the story and where you're at and being present, right? It's all those things. And telling you, man, I love to audition. It's just hard these days because I'm doing so much stuff. We touring. We're on like 3 different tours. So it's like I can't even get to the auditions. Plus the paradigm is shifted because of COVID. You got to have 5 days before if you book because you got to take COVID tests, 3 COVID tests before you're on set. And I can't do that. So I haven't been doing a lot of auditioning, but I still do the work. Right. And that's the part of it, you know. And then I'm on a platform called We Audition. So when the pandemic hit, every actor all over the world was kind of out of work, except for us in Atlanta, right?
Right.
And that's who I do my auditions with. And it was brilliant because that's how they made money, because they were readers for the people who were in places that were auditioning. So I'm got readers who are basically my coaches from, you know, Juilliard, soap opera actresses,
Mm-hmm.
New York, LA, Brazil, classically trained actors and actresses in England and Europe, Australia. I got a squad of actors and people who read for me, and they made me better because they auditioned just as much as me, and they probably got way more credits than me. And
Right.
I listen to them, and we help each other, right? And it's about that networking part of it. So that is my whole spiel on acting. I know I probably went a little bit longer, but I'm, you know, people want to know you interested in it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's the things that I do. I apply to my life, and you'd be surprised how everything synergizes, because it's just about how you approach things. It's about how you react to things. It's about how you perceive things. It's about just staying even keel and sequestering your ego, killing your pride. So when you sequester your ego and kill your pride, your mind is truly open to every possibility.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's how I roll.
I've been hearing a lot about ego death
Mhm.
lately. You know, people doing things, taking certain mushrooms or just having certain type of encounters where they experience some sort of ego death. And after that after the death of the ego, they just reach this point of enlightenment where they're able to just excel, you know, and have the type of mindset that you have after
Mhm.
that ego was completely gone.
I tell people, I say, look, you know, I could take any negative connotation, fear, envy, hate, despair, loathing. I sound like Yoda, right? And I just put it in my pocket
Hmm.
and use it for fuel for later, because I don't react.
Hmm.
It's eating me up inside.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's easier said than done.
Yeah.
But you don't react, right?
Hmm.
What happens is that turns into positive energy, because I got an audition today and I'm got an argument with somebody in this audition.
Hmm.
I can go back 2 weeks ago when I was arguing with this stupid ass girl. And now instead of me chasing, trying to find a character or a caricature, that experience makes it real, because now the character is me,
Right.
right? And now I just get to be me,
Hmm. And then
right?
you're not acting.
Story is right. I understand what the story is, and now I get to just
Yeah.
I get to go back, pull something, and
Hmm.
use it. So,
Right.
or if I'm trying to, you know, I'll have a problem that I need to solve, or I'll be doing something and someone pop in my head and be like, "Man, you ain't gonna be able to do that, man. You ain't gonna be able to do that." And because you didn't argue with him and didn't react, that comes fuel. Remember when
Hmm.
you said he didn't? You said you couldn't do this. Oh yeah, I remember. About to show him something.
Hmm.
About to show him something, right? And it just, because I've watched pride kill a lot of men,
Right.
right? I've watched pride and ego kill. Pride and ego makes men not, you know, especially black men, not go to the doctor.
Hmm.
You know, pride and ego especially makes men not want to be wrong. I love being wrong,
Hmm.
right? Because being wrong is the path to being right.
Hmm. Yeah, it's an opportunity to learn.
It's just simple practical tactics that keep you in line
Hmm.
with staying focused on what you're trying to do. Now, people are like, well, man, don't you get depressed, and don't you feel, aren't you fearful of the new things that you got to do and things like that? And I'm like, how do you deal with that? And I'm like, one, if I have fear, I'll just be scared. But you can do two things at once. You can be scared and keep it moving.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? You can do three things. I mean, the only way to it is through it, right? So if I have a fear of it, I'm just gonna go on and do it, or I'm gonna find somebody who can help me through it, right?
Hmm.
I'm gonna go get a tutor. I'm gonna go get a mentor. I'm gonna go find somebody who can talk to me. So that's why one of the things and one of the tactics that I've been using for years is I join organizations. I'm part of 25 different organizations because organizations are filled with people who love their profession and are there to make their profession better. And they've been doing it 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and they can't wait to give you the game. Plus, they got all the resources, all the financial resources, and they know that game inside out better than anybody.
Hmm.
So, perfect example, we talked about the Geico commercial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Usually you do a Geico commercial, you out of here. Salt and Pepper did theirs 2013. They haven't stopped touring. But we couldn't tour because we in the middle of a pandemic. So I said, let me blow up acting and voiceover. So I was like, well, let me try to find a publicist. That's when my agent was trying to find a publicist. And everybody was like, well, we don't know what to do with a commercial. We kind of like out of it because of the pandemic. And I was like, y'all giving me every reason why you couldn't instead of one reason why y'all shouldn't. And I appreciate that because they wasn't spending my money. Like they could have spent my money and just not done nothing.
Right.
I was like, I didn't let that stop me. I went and joined PRSA, Public Relations Society of America. I'm become my own damn publicist. 2 days in, this is Super Bowl week. Mm-hmm. I'm on this Zoomcast with the CEO of this company. And we get to ask questions. I ask questions. Are press releases relevant? Because I got a press release in the hole I wanted to put out. And I know press releases are relevant because I do SEO. I know how to use them. But I needed that validity from somebody who's been doing it for 40 years.
Right.
And they're like, what's it for? I was like, well, I'm kind of featured in a national Geico commercial called Scoop There It Is. And I'm looking at the chat. Wait a minute. What's he doing here? Wait a minute. That ain't him. My mama love that. Man, I love that commercial. Now the whole Zoomcast is about me. Mm-hmm. Right? And the CEO goes, of course that press release is going to work because the whole last year has been about COVID. Every story. Right. And every story has been political. And here you guys come spinning scoops and throwing sprinkles, and DC or small. You're going to go here for all the journalists, here for all the publicists, here for all TV talk shows, here for all the podcasts. Mm-hmm. She gave me the entire breadth of her existence and her expertise in 10 minutes. And it has changed my life forever and is the reason that I am talking to you right now. Mm-hmm. And I dropped that press release on a Wednesday. That Thursday, the next day, Super Bowl week, I get a call from the Dan Patrick Show because they saw the press release. They're like, we got to have Tag Team Friday on the Dan Patrick Show. Now I'm on national TV on Friday talking to Dan Patrick about strip clubs and Tom Brady. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm my own publicist. I do 2 or 3 podcasts a day. Mm-hmm. And I don't do it really for PR. I do it for PR, but I do it more for backlinks back to the website. My website or wherever I want it to be sent, right? Because every podcast is an entity, and then most people are going to take those podcasts and spread them out over platforms that are high authority. Then I get those links, and now I am the authority. Mm-hmm. My juice is higher within the data-driven robot world of Google, because Google is what counts. See, I'm different. I think different, right? Mm-hmm. I don't everything. There's nothing that is a quid pro quo to me. I plant seeds. You don't plant a seed, sit down Indian style and be like, okay, seed, I need you to grow seed. Come on, seed, grow, white, the seed growing. Man, this seed don't work. I quit. How many people you know like that? Right? Exactly. Yeah. But what they don't understand is there is no quid pro quo. You don't know how long that seed, you don't even know what type of seed you planted. You know you planted a seed because preparation is planting the seed, but you gotta let that seed grow. So you monitor it, but you don't sit there and wait for it, and then all of a sudden that seed come back and hit you in the head with opportunities you never thought could happen. And 28 years ago, I planted a seed called Whoomp There It Is, and now it is a sequoia. It ain't going nowhere. Right. And I've been planting seeds ever since, and my life is full of opportunity. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I don't mean to TD Jakes you, but
I'm okay with it because the thing is, people, I think I've gotten to a point now where people come and watch my show to pick up gems now. Yeah. So when my guests start, they're talking and they're just dropping these gems. Like every now and then I have somebody, they kind of they get a little long-winded. I feel like I need to interject. But other times when there's just gem after gem after gem, I sit back and I just listen. I just let it happen. you know.
Yeah.
So
That's why I tell people, I was like, I could tell you every time I do a podcast, it might no more than 3 questions.
mhm.
I know exactly. I could tell the same story 300 different ways.
uh-huh.
But doing this every day, I was doing this before, but they were interviews. But once they turned into this,
Mhm.
and you hone your skills. I do this for articulation. I do
Right.
this for diction. I do this for, sitting across, looking at somebody. Are they engaged? Are they not? What do I got to do to keep them engaged? I get to practice analogies. I get to come up with cold-blooded lines. It's almost like writing lyrics when I do this, right?
Mhm.
It's like, oh, you know how when you write that line, that when you write and you have that line, you be like, oh, this is good. That's how these are for me, because I come up with such cold-blooded stuff that I say that means something, right? All these principles are the same, but you have to say them in a way that people can digest it, where they say, never looked at it that way.
Right.
And you keep it simple and you keep it practical, right? I haven't said anything that is just like, man, I'll never be able to do that. Everything is about, my whole thing is, as long as you're breathing, there ain't nothing on this earth you can't do.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to go try out for the Denver Broncos being 55, 56, but, within reason, if there's something you want to do, you can do it. It's up to you. I feel like I'm just getting started. And I've been in this game forever. But because I coined the term learn how to learn. It ain't enough just to learn. You got to learn how to learn. So I come up with these tactics. Like if I get you've gotten a long email before and you just like, man, I don't even feel like reading all that. And if you do read it, by the time you finish it, you got to read it again, because you're going to start daydreaming and thinking about what you're going to eat tonight and all that. So I put it in the AI, let the AI read to me. Now I'm like, whoa, okay. You start picking up clues while you're still doing other stuff. You can do 3 things at one time. Or when I get a course, I listen to it 3 times the speed. Because if it's an hour course, it's only going to take 20 minutes. And I'm going to still get what I'm going to get out of it, right? Because I'm picking up clues as it's running to me. And that combats against boring speakers, right? Somebody can be talking slow and just be like, man, I can't listen to this. Put it on the speed. And you'll be like, they'll be the most interesting person you ever listened to. Speed on it. You see what I'm saying? It can't be too fast, but a speed where it's just like flying through it and you listening to him and you catch the nuggets. Right? That's the key, is catching the nuggets. If you take one thing from something, that has made your life better. But if you could take 10 things from it, man, what? And that's how I do it. You see what I'm saying? Like that, learn how to learn. Everything is a tactic to figure out how I can do this to cut the learning curve down, to cut the time, to practice good time management, right? How do I do this without it costing me? Sometimes you get a calculus problem that's just going to take you 2 weeks to figure out. And then you're going to feel stupid because you be like, man, this was easy. I went through all this and all I had to do was this. But it happens. Hey, life is baked in the cake. But that prepares you for adversity and adaptation, right? And my theme song is just not to get blindsided by life. So once you realize life is baked in the cake and that nobody's ever going to do nothing for you, because I hate when people say, man, they don't teach us that. They ain't supposed to teach us. You're supposed to go get it. If they got it, you can get it. Period. You just got to try harder, right? And that's how I speak to people, man. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. They don't teach us that, and the man keep you down and blah this and blah. I was like, man, I said, whatever you are, that's your strength, because there's only one of you. That's all you need. But it's up to you, right? It's up to you. And I show people the way all the time, and you can join them organizations all day. But I just do that with my father. I'd be like, man, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I think I was talking about praying. It's like, I'm praying for what I want to do and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. My father was real wise. And he was like, son, I'll tell you this. He said, you can pray to the Lord all day, but if you don't get your ass up from under that apple tree, ain't nothing will ever happen for you.
Yeah.
Right. And I always remember those little nuggets like that.
That's space without works, like
yeah. You have to, I mean, you have to be relentless. right?
Yeah.
I mean, you have to scrape your knuckles. It has to be painful at times.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like I said, I'll put everything on my back and be like, I'll be the guinea pig. I'll be like, come on, y'all. I got it. I'll figure it out and then I'll teach it to y'all. And then y'all become part of my team.
Right.
But the thing is, it ain't for everybody.
No, it's not.
And that's the frustrating part, but you have to let go sometimes,
Mhm.
And the one thing people say is, man, keep negative people away from you, man. You gotta, you've heard that before. Keep positive people. I was like, no, 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 no. Everybody that's negative, come on, because it's the way you look at it, right?
Right.
If somebody come complaining to me all the time or bringing their problems to me, come on, because all I do is come with. They call me DC, the brain supreme. They call me that for a reason. I come up with solutions,
Okay.
and if you come to me with an excuse, I'm gonna come up with a solution to negate that, excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for me, so I can put that in my toolbox. So when life hits me, I got a tool. Now. I got a No, I got a Home Depot. I got an Ace Hardware of tools
Mm-hmm.
that anything that hits me in life, I can handle it. I got a tool for it because I've used other people's experiences, other people's problems, and other people's negativity to
Mm-hmm.
benefit me. Because if somebody's telling you something and they saying you act like this and let me tell you about yourself and all this, and you want to sit there, I don't argue with them. I'll be like, okay. I ask myself, what if what this person was saying was right? DC, man, you just egotistical bastard. All right. Now to me, I know they full of it.
Mm-hmm.
They're just deflecting, right?
Right.
But what if what they were saying was true?
Right.
What would you do about it?
Mm-hmm.
That's another tool in the toolbox. You
Right.
feel what I'm saying? There's
Mm-hmm.
positivity in every negative thing there is if you listen and you humble yourself.
Gotcha. That sounds great, man. I love it, and I definitely hear the motivational speaker in you. When you say these things, man. Okay, so I want to move on to this other picture here. So,
My bad,
and
dude.
no,
I
no, you're
turn it
fine.
down.
You're fine, man. So this one, you don't remember what you saw in this one either.
Mm-mm.
So this one, you said the MRI before your most recent back surgery.
Yep.
Yep. So
My
I
most
want to.
recent, I've had 2 back surgeries, but here's a practice in life, right?
Mhm.
I was having back problems started about 4 years ago, but it runs in the family. It's called
Okay.
stenosis, where the spinal cord narrows.
Right.
So it started with the lower back, and it was hitting that sciatic nerve. I could barely walk, but I'm running around all the country doing touring and doing shows
Mhm.
and stuff, and then it just got debilitating. And I went to probably about 3 doctors, and they were all telling me you're gonna have to have surgery. I was like, can't do no fit, they weren't very enlightening about what was going on with me, right? And I just reverse engineered it. So I went to every physical therapy. I called every physical therapy department in the city
Mhm.
within this network, Emory. And I said, hey, which orthopedic surgeon people don't come back? And it was like, don't let nobody touch your back but Dr. Heller or Dr. Michaels.
Mhm.
So I found Dr. Heller. Dr. Heller told me what to do. He's like, I wish every patient was like you. We had a successful back surgery. And then I did what he needed. And I feel like Steve Austin, Bionic Man, for real, for real.
Uh,
And about a year ago, we I had to throw out a first pitch for Chicago White Sox.
mhm.
And I didn't want to be whack because Fauci threw out one that was whack, and 50 Cent threw out one. I was just like,
It's
nah.
horrible.
Yeah, let me go to the cages so I don't pull one of those, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm in the batting cages, and that throwing a baseball ended up being one of the best workouts. And I was just going hard. And then one day I didn't warm up, and I felt some twitch, and I popped a disc. But I was trying to fix that disc for like 6 months, and I even went to my back, and I was like, it was like, I don't know, we took X-rays, but we didn't take an MRI.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just got bad. And I said, let me go get it I'll pay for my own MRI because I need to know what this is. Sent it to my doctor, orthopedic surgeon. And he was like, get your ass in here Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
This was like Friday. I was like, all right. And he said, your disc is rubbing against your spinal column at the base of your neck. And we need to operate on you now. We can probably wait till August, which was, this is like in May. And I was like, all right. But then he called me from the airport and he was like, hey, how you feel about doing this on Sunday? I was like, man, whatever you want to do, dude. And within a week, I was on the operating table because I couldn't feel I could feel the nerves in my feet, my legs. And when I saw that MRI and he explained it to me, I seen that disc pushing up against the spinal column. And if I got in like a car accident or any fell or anything, I could have been paraplegic for the rest of my life.
Wow.
And we went and did the surgery. It was successful. I was back on the road in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's healing. My nerves are getting on my nerves because it takes the nerves about a year to heal, but I'm good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of what I tell about putting your pride to the side and ego.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of black men don't want to go to the doctor. I feel good, man. I'm just going to figure it out. I'm just, and my father used to tell me this. Look, boy, he who doctors on himself has a fool for a doctor. You see what I'm saying, man? So it's that proactivity, right? It's that sequestering your ego, killing your pride, to be humble enough to say, hey, something's wrong. Let me go see. I go to the doctor every 3 months in my general practice because I want to monitor what's going on. Then I can act accordingly. Because if all my levels are good and blood work is good and all this, then I can go ham. But if I'm not, then I know I gotta chill out. But it's about monitoring, right? Mm-hmm. It's not about me thinking I know what I'm doing. And I talk to people all the time. They're just like, I'll be like, and sadly, I have people that didn't wait and didn't want to go to the doctor and they passed because by the time you feel it, it's too late.
Yeah.
So you always got to monitor it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I pretty much know everything that's going on with my body and I just keep it moving. So when I saw that, I was like, yep, that looks like my MRI.
Mm-hmm. So, so when they put you in the MRI machine, now here's the thing with that MRI machine. A lot of people are not claustrophobic until they get into an MRI machine. So, so it's an unexpected fear, right? So that's actually what I want to talk about now, but I want to still go back to like your childhood. Did you have any of those unexpected fears? And I'm not talking about like the obvious ones, like being scared of the dark, monsters, things like that. Is there anything that really caught you off guard? Some sort of fear that caught you off guard and kind of stuck with you, even up in like through adulthood?
The only thing I fear, and it's really not a fear, it's just the irritant, is mice.
Okay.
That's it. For real, man. Because every now and then you have a season where you get mice in the house. And that's just nerve-wracking.
So what is it? Oh, but you say it's not really a fear, it's more of an irritant. Okay.
Yeah, it's more of it's not like I'm gonna jump on the table and be like, oh, it's just like, how when somebody scare you all the time, or when you they might be around the corner, they just know that they got you, they can scare you a certain way. That's what that's like. Where it's just like, man, God, right? And they just pop out somewhere and just run somewhere and just be like, man, you know what, man, I'm out of here, right? And it's just irritating.
Yeah.
But fear is, I don't know, man. Fear can be navigated, right? Mm-hmm. And if it can't be navigated, you gotta stand tall. Mm-hmm. You gotta stand in the face of it,
right,
and move forward, right? Yeah. Now, I'm not talking about as far as physically hurting yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, everybody's scared when they fight, even if they know they can fight, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm talking about just those split-second decisions where if you make the wrong decision, it could affect the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. that's the type of fear that you have to control, right?
Right.
So I try not to put myself in the position to be fearful like that. Now, there's things, you know, I've been depressed, I've been worried, but like I said, you can be depressed and worried and still keep it moving.
Mm-hmm.
Just gotta do it while you being depressed, right? Sometimes there's doubt. Man, how am I gonna do this? I don't know how, but so this one of my remedies is everything I think of, I write it down.
Mm-hmm.
I got 10 of these books. I've been doing it for years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even a to-do list. It's just I'm doing so much stuff that I got to write this stuff down, and I don't see nobody doing that. That's why nobody get nothing done, because everybody think they can remember stuff, and you can't.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people all the time, look, whenever you take a class, whenever you do this, record it, because you're not going to remember all that. I've got every acting class recorded. I've got everything I've ever done recorded for the last 15 years. When the pandemic hit, pandemic's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. Not the greatest thing that ever happened, but it was good for me, because the other side is the other side. We all, you know, that's the people dying and the fear and all that crap, right? That is life. But the side that everybody had to deal with together was, you ask yourself one question: what the hell am I going to do?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I loved it because everybody had to stop at the same time. And then we're all in the Serengeti together now. What you going to be, predator or prey? Right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the wild. I mean, you got to look out. You got people you don't want to be around. You got, and you know, it's just, luckily for me, I was by myself, but I said, what am I going to do? I can't do shows, can't do this, can't do that, but I can rock this microphone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already booking for voiceover, but then it was like, let me reinvent myself. So what I did is I went and got all those, because they just all over the place. I went and organized all that stuff. And I went back and I listened to my first voiceover lesson. And it was so cringeworthy. It almost brought tears in my eyes, because I had to listen to myself, my 10-year-ago self, talk in a regular conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And even 10 years ago, I was just so ignorant to so much stuff, because I thought I could just whoomp there it is my way through anything, right?
Yeah.
And voiceover was difficult. And I was blaming my coaches, like, they don't know what they're doing. Boom, 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 boom. And I started listening, and I was like, now I understand what they were saying, because I never gave up on voiceover, and I became an actor.
Mm-hmm.
They helped each other. It was 10 years of growth. I was like, let me do this first script over that's making my skin crawl. And I did it. And it was angelic, because it was the first time I had mastery over my voice. And I went through about 40 lessons, because I used to go to New York, LA. I've been trained by the best. And I went through all of that, and I started booking like that, because I got the voice for COVID. We're all in this together. COVID, right? Then I get a call from one of my acting coaches that I did. I helped her do her little, you know, I'm friends with her. She was like, they're letting us do a movie in Nebraska. Can you fly? I was like, yeah, I got a hazmat suit. When you shot my first movie in Nebraska, the week George Floyd died. I'm in the middle of cornfield, Nebraska, looking at the stars, feeling blessed, while the world around me is burning.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And came back to Armageddon and was just like, whoa. And then I shot another movie about a month later. And then I did a fall campaign for Publix, which is a grocery store chain.
Mm-hmm.
And then here come Geico. Right. And the thing about Geico is 10 years ago, everybody thought Barack Obama was in our music video. And it was like, I got a call from New York Times. She was like, have you looked at the Gawker article? I was like, no. It's like, everybody thinks Barack Obama's in your video. And I was like, how'd you find me? She was like, it was hard. I had to go over the hills, through the woods. But she told everybody, now I'm doing interviews with ABC, NBC, Stephen Colbert's show, late night, everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And after 2 weeks, I was pissed off. because I had no money in my pocket to show for it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what started my SEO career, search engine optimization, digital marketing, the ability to get on the first page of Google. And fast forward, pandemic, September 2020, I get a call from my agent, commercial Lena, DC, you just booked a Geico commercial. Come on, Lena, don't play with me. Why are you playing with me in the middle of a pandemic? I ain't even auditioned for no Geico commercials. Like, no, DC, tag team. And because I put all this website together and did all this SEO, I was able to be found.
Mm-hmm.
And they went to my IMDb because they called me. I checked the phone. It was like, oh, but they didn't wait for me to call them back. They went to my IMDb, called my agent. I was like, this is synergy. I let my agent make the deal. I didn't have to get no lawyers. I didn't have to do nothing. And it is the most lucrative deal I've ever made in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Bigger than the beginning. I am busier now than I was back in Whoomp There It Is first came out.
Really?
Beyond doubt. Because I'm acting, voiceover,
Right.
and this, and trying to take over the world
Mm-hmm.
with Google,
Mm-hmm.
and teaching everybody, right?
Right.
10 things a day
Mm-hmm.
that, little bit by little bit, make things better for me. You put yourself in front of the people that can pay you, right? Everybody thinks, everybody's like, why don't you do social media and blah, blah, blah. I was like, I do it, but I'm not. I'm in my 50s. I ain't about to be sitting there doing social media. Is people want attention.
Right.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. If you're young, that's what you do. I get it, right? Mm-hmm. But I always tell people, you don't need 100,000 people to like you. You just need 100 people to pay you. That's a different thing.
Yeah, that's different.
That's marketing. That's search. Yep. If I get 100 people to pay me what I want,
mm-hmm.
that's 100-fold. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing. That's all I care about. Mm-hmm. So I can reach all those people, and that's the thing too. Now, you want to stay. I have been able to hustle this song for 28 years. I have been able to have a career off of one damn song. How many people can say that?
Right.
Because people are like, you're a one-hit wonder. It's like, you're damn right I am. I embrace it. I was like, what better song to have? Right? And I know you just hating. Mm-hmm. But I say, what are they trying to say to me? And the only thing I can get is they're trying to say to me is like, I'm not worthy enough because I only had one hit. But I'm like, dude, I'm still here. You talking to me in 2022. Mm-hmm. You wasn't even born when I did this song.
And the word hit is still in that.
And the word hit is like I said, it is in the nostalgia phase. And then, right, here's the thing. Geico blew it up. And then in a month, I'm about to be on The Masked Singer. And that's going to blow it up all over again. So now I've realized, and I'm a type of person where I take one opportunity, turn it into 10. So Geico done turned into 20, 30 different opportunities for me. Because I hustle. And every one of those opportunities turned into 10. So we about to do new Geico commercials. And I know now the key is you got to keep your relevance. So if I get on The Masked Singer or Dancing with the Stars just to perform the record, or a 90s night theme type of situation, everybody I go on tour with is like, how the hell did you do that? What type of management you got? Like, I'm my own management. I hustle. I have agents, I have managers, types, I have publicists, but I don't have them for what they do. I have them for what I need them to do for me. There's a difference.
Right.
I will pay somebody to teach them, right? Because that's what it requires. If I try to, me hiring people and then expecting them to do what I need them to do, it don't work. Nobody can know how to do me for me, especially being a black man. They don't know my flow. They don't know the street hustle. They don't know my years of experience. They don't know my years of experience in the clubs. It's a difference. But if they got that hustle in them and I see it, and I see where their holes are, I can fill their holes. And now that's my team. I'm paying you to be on my team. So therefore I got to teach you. Right? because nobody, like I said, nobody's gonna do nothing for you, even if they're good for you. That's why I got mentors. And then all you got, and trust me, everybody out there, ask questions and then say please, and you'll be surprised by how many people give you the game.
Right.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know anything but hustle. Hustle, like I was talking to one of my friends. She's like, "You need a woman." I was like, "I don't need a damn woman. I worked in a strip club for 30 years. I'm ruined, right?" Because I became liberated as a man at 21. My first year in Magic City. I was the original DJ at Magic City. I got to Atlanta in 1989. I got there the week that Do the Right Thing came out. You see what I'm saying? And I was like, I don't need a woman to hustle with my woman. I love her. I will do anything for her. I started just explaining it to her, right? And she was like, you just make me feel so good because I feel like you're talking about a real woman. I feel like you're talking about your girl because that's what hustle means to me, right? And I've had a lifetime full of women and done my thing and had a good time, right? I don't need to, I don't need that no more. All I need is the hustle. All I need is my girl, right? I am married to the hustle. And it's not even about hustle per se, it's about the intellect. When added to the hustle, what comes out, right?
Right.
The way you twist it and reverse engineer things and then engineer them back for you, right? Solutions I come up with, how I break things down. Like for one thing, I ask people, what do you want? Most people can't even tell me. Like, what do you want? What do you want? I was like, okay, I'll play that game with you. I want mastery. That's it. What that mean? No. Okay, well, let's do it this way. I want money to where it don't even matter. That's not a lot. There's no number on that, right?
Right.
Because the ability to make income and money, it's not about trying to be a billionaire or anything like that. I just want it to where it don't matter. Right. And that's not a lot because I've done everything. I bought all the cars. I've done all that. I stay in a little condo and I'm happy. Don't want to move nowhere. Don't need no house. Don't need nothing but my hustle. Right. And it's about the mastery. Like I'm about to, because of these podcasts, I get to start my motivational speaking career. I got all the mentors in NSA, National Speakers Association, mentoring me. They showed me the game. I'm thinking I got to go do something different. They're like, no, you be you. Put you some beats together. Do it that way. Right. Like I've come up with a show for motivation. Right. I could talk over beats. All these little sayings that stick the most. I can make little samples, and there's so many things I could DJ everything I talked about today. Ain't nobody ever did that.
Right.
I watched the guy do it with some folk songs, but he put everybody to sleep. He was motivating for the first part, but he would just be done, and he'd be like, and you can be anything you want to be. And it was cool for about 10 minutes. But I left because I was like, you ain't gonna keep me with that. You gotta hit me hard, right? You gotta get people dancing and partying and having a good time.
Yeah, you gotta make them feel something.
Yeah, they get you gotta make them feel like they just left the club. Right? You gotta take them through those roller coasters. I was one of the best in Atlanta. I did every big club. By the end of the night, there was glass broken all over the floor, empty bottles of champagne, weave all over the place, broke keels, throw up everywhere. That's how you know you did your job as a DJ.
So you say you DJ'd in the strip clubs. So let's talk about your role on P Valley. So
man, ain't that in a full circle moment?
You're right. you were a barber though in P Valley. So, but when you auditioned for the role, did you initially want to play some sort of role in the strip club, but then eventually you just end up getting that role for the barbershop?
I'm not married to nothing. I don't be thinking about the roles.
Okay.
I be thinking about how I could do a good audition. Everything is about the audition. Whatever comes. However,
So
people think about you. So I can tell you the story though. It's a good story.
okay. Mm-hmm.
What was your question though? Let me, because I know it's going
Well,
to.
I guess, did you audition for the barbershop role, or did you audition for something else and they said,
No,
let's
when you
keep
get a
going?
breakdown, when I get an audition, they send it to me in a breakdown. Because here's one I gotta have done tomorrow, right? That's 10 pages.
Okay.
Either you can do it or you can't, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did it, and I was like, okay, how am I gonna do this? And I think this is what got me the role. I misconstrued what the scene meant, right? Because I think I said Little Murder, this one right here, this is the one you need to put on the record. I thought I was listening to Little Murder's music, and that's how I played it. But I think that's how it played so perfect for what they were trying to do. I booked it. Because when I got on set, I thought that, and the dude was like, no. It's talking about me. I used to sing. I was like, man, I feel like a dumbass. Because I'm supposed to be pointing him. This one right here, I'm like, ain't going to be no jukebox in here or nothing. I don't need to point. No, I'm talking about him. Oh, right. So here's the beauty of it, though. I get on set, and I meet Katori Hall, and she's the writer. It's her whole thing. And she said, Mr. Glenn, said, you got this part out of thousands.
Wow.
They always tell me. I asked them, I was like, so what made you pick me? It's like, you got this part. This was an exhaustive search to do this because this is a metaphor for some things. And the way you did your audition was brilliant. It was just what we wanted. I was like, well, hey, I used to work in Magic City. So if you ever need stories, she's like, what? I was like, yeah, I had DJ in Magic City for years. And strokers, and everybody was like, man, wow. Mind you, this beginning of the day, nobody even knows who I am. So we on set, we do a couple scenes, takes, right? And I'm struggling a little bit. And the director's like, DC, come on now, we need you to boom, 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 because I got to cut hair with fire, right? And it's like, y'all could have told me that so I could have prepared. I prepared the best I could, but then I started getting it. And then we took a break. And I remember I'm in the tent with C Murder and the other dude. No, it's just C Murder. And I was like, man, he was like, tell me how he was tired. And I was like, yeah, I'm tired too, man. I just got off the road, dude. He was like, oh, really? What you do? And I was like, back in the day, I made a song called Whoomp There It Is. And we do a little touring here and there. He's like, oh, okay, cool. Hey, you say Whoomp There It Is? I'm like, yeah. He's like, nigga, you a legend. I was like, nah. What? No, you lying, dog. I was like, yeah, man. You're gonna go look at the video and he's like, I know now. Oh man. Boy, he's like, man, I'll be back. I gotta go to the bathroom. So I watched him. He went into the tent where the directors and everybody producers were, right? So I follow him in there. And he up in there telling everybody. Man, that's the dude in the Geico commercial. That's the bully. Man, he just blowing me up. And I walked in there and everybody just lost it. For the rest of the day, they treated me like a princess, dog. And what's the trip is that they didn't know. So the final output, they changed that scene to put Whoomp There It Is in there as the song because they thought either it was going to work or to pay homage to me, all of the above. But now I get to put on my reel a great performance with my song in the background.
Right.
When people put two and two together.
Yeah.
It might be
press the refresh button on that song.
Huh?
You press the refresh button on that song now.
You have to, though. But that's the whole point. It's like I knew every year for 10 years. Every year for about 10 years. I was like, okay, this the year's gonna die. This the year's gonna die. Because we was in a 15-year legal battle, right? And I realized, I'm sitting in a movie theater 2003, and I'm looking at Will Ferrell dance on the table to Elf and the Whoomp There It Is. And I was pissed off, but I put that to the back of my head. And I realized you got a forever hit record, dude. It's up to me to go get my money. Ain't nobody gonna give me nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know the deal was made.
Actually, before you finish that story, that's perfect because one of the questions that I had with this picture, with this, the picture of the what you said you saw, your most recent MRI. I was going to talk about a spine. I was going to talk about having a spine and a time that you've had to stand up to somebody in
Mhm.
the industry.
Yeah,
So this is a perfect segue into that.
yeah. Because we signed, we was doomed from the start. We signed a messed up contract. But
Hmm.
we also went platinum in a month and a half, right?
Yeah.
And
Right.
that's back in 1993, dude.
Right.
That's astronomical.
Hmm.
But because I was a DJ all my life, I never became that star dude, right? And even when the record company went bankrupt and another record company bought it, and then they had to fight each other and they wanted used us as pawns, I could have looked at the glass half empty,
Hmm.
but I always choose to look at the glass half full. I knew I was gonna get my day in court,
Hmm.
so you better be prepared. So I basically became a paralegal. I learned what discovery was, learned what emotion was, learned how court case courses come to trial, learned the jargon. And then here's the thing that I do. You might have heard this before, but I turn trauma into treasure because I vow that will never happen to me again.
Hmm.
So when that happened to me, I vowed it will never happen to me again. And every time we go to LA to the record company, they would give us a big stack of papers because they would monitor everything, all the press. And I would just send it home to my mama. Everything I got, I sent home to my mother, and she put it in a big trunk downstairs.
Hmm.
And just for memory's sake, maybe like 10 years ago, I just digitized all of it. And because I digitized all that came back to serve me because that was the discovery. And I put all those contracts and everything lined up perfectly. And what was our day in court? Because they was trying to take everything from us, right? The company that lost. And I put it all together, found a good lawyer, and we prevailed after 15 years,
Wow.
right? And not without a cost. You go to war, you're gonna come back with missing an arm, maybe a hand,
You're
your
right.
eye patch, but you get another chance at life, right?
Hmm.
And I don't quit. Like I just like, hey man, they beat me out some money. Okay, I vow that never happen again. I became a licensed commodity broker.
Hmm.
How am I gonna do this business? Well, how am I gonna make a business? Well, run your life like a corporation. Well, how do I do that? Well, you gotta find out. But run your life like a corporation. Okay, well, you gotta know what type of corporation you want to be. Okay, you gotta get an accountant, you gotta get a tax guy, you gotta get a bank account, you gotta get the EIN number, you gotta get this, you gotta get that, you gotta get your credit straight. Oh wait, you got corporate credit? Oh, okay. Well, you working at this club, how can you maximize that? Because I tell people all the time, it's like if you got a job and you're in a dead end job, or you're in a job that you don't like, that's the wrong approach. I said, any job you're in, you better learn how to do everybody's job because you're learning skills that you're just learning skills. And that keeps you away from being in that negative space. And
Right.
one day the boss gonna come and be like, where's such and such? I need this done. Be like, I got it. Because I'm not just a DJ for your club. I am your light guy, your sound guy. I do your flyers because I'm masterful of Photoshop. I do your television commercials because I do voiceover. I do video. I'm a fashion photographer. I get all your girls in the magazines. I'm the
Mm.
one that did the magazines for Sticky Pages, for Don Diva back in the day,
Okay.
for Ozone Magazine back, all those hip hop magazines, Feds,
Yeah.
all those.
Remember
I'm the
them.
one doing the photography in those magazines
Okay.
because I had a plethora of strippers that I made look like stars, right?
Right.
And that was I called that being in the corridor. And then how that came about, I was like, man, you need to make this club. I was at Strokers, like, you need to make them a business plan or to increase their bottom line. Because it was lady Terry Fisher, love her to death. And took me a year to put a business plan together. I thought put a business plan together, write a little summary. We good, man. That thing hard, man. With a business plan together, you gotta have stats. You gotta have a vision. You gotta it taught me a lot. And I read this book back in the day. I don't remember what it was, but the dude wanted to have a pie shop, and he went and worked at a pie shop, did all the things the pie shop, quit, started his pie shop, and he franchised it, and he sold it for $20 million. He called that getting in the corridor.
Okay.
I did that with every job I've ever had. So when I come in, you got to hire 10 people to do everything I do. And even if you get let go, your ascendance to the next level is easier because you got the tools and the experience, because you were proactive instead of reactive to come up, right? So I've always had a spine because I don't quit. I don't care how long it takes. I will learn everything I got to learn. I am relentless, right? I play offense. If LeBron misses 10 shots, he's going to shoot 30. If he misses them 30, he's going to shoot another 30, but then he's going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 1,000, and he's going to win 5, 6 championships. Right? Because I play offense. Everybody else can be defense and be negative. I play off, and all I think about is solutions. So you can't come to me and give me an excuse, because when I ask people what they want, it's like, they tell me, and I'm like, well, how you going to do it? It's like, I don't know. I was like, here's how you do it. You think of the most pie in the sky, fantastical, far-fetched solution. See, the beauty of it is that you see it. And everybody's, man, you can't do that, man. You tripping. You can't do that, dude. Maybe I can't do it now, but if I bring it back an inch, you still can't do it. Everybody laughing at me. Right? This is how I got to be who I am, because I started DJing and I seen myself. This is in the beginning of hip hop. I seen myself being DJ Jazzy Jeff and Cash Money and all those big DJs back then, right? Everybody used to laugh at me, and I brought it back. Well, you ain't that now, but what you gotta do? You gotta do this. Nope, can't do it now. Bring it back. Well, get you a couple turntables. Well, you get one. Found one at a pawn shop for a little bit. Got another one. Now start DJ. Well, you need some records. Well, you got your daddy's records. So I told my daddy's records. Well, you do that, bring it back a little bit more. Bought it back. You bring it back. And now I'm here, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm doing that now. And what you've just done is you've created a reverse business plan with a stepladder to your goals and dreams. Because what you've done is you see it. You see your vision, you see it. Then you work your way back to practicality. Now it's time to put in the work. Now it's time to see what you're made of. Let's see what you're hustling. Because you figured it out. But now it's time, and then you adjust as you go. And that's how I break things down to be successful at 10 things at once.
Right. That right there, we'll talk a little more afterwards, but I've had people tell me you're doing too much. And because I've had the same mentality where I have a bunch of things and trying to master them all. And I've been like, I'm not about to listen to somebody who's not doing enough tell me that I'm doing too much, you know. But you're the first person that has ever said it, that's ever like broken it down that way, that I hear say, look, it's okay to do multiple things at once. You know, I mean, it's just,
it takes so longer, but here's the beauty of it.
Right. Yep.
To be back when I was starting, everybody's like, man, you a jack of all trades, master of none. You're doing too much. I was like, all right. But if you live long enough, you play offense, learn how to learn.
Yeah.
You become masterful at those trades.
Right.
And they come back to serve you in ways you never could have imagined. Everything I've ever done in my life serves me now. Everything I've never, the pandemic taught me this. It's crazy because the pandemic taught me so many lessons. There are no mistakes. There are no missed opportunities. As long as you're breathing, you can correct it all.
Right.
I got tutors for everything, from the smallest thing to the biggest thing. Tutors, mentors. I will pay somebody to teach me. Right. I know how to find anything I need, any type of information, valid information, because I do keyword research and I do SEO. So if it's got a bunch of traffic and this one, the first result is on the first page of Google, well, Google knows that person knows what they're talking about. because they've been vetted.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get to trick Google.
Right.
And that's how you bridge the gap of learning what not to know, what not to know, and what to know.
Mm-hmm.
And the perfect example is 1994. I'm in the bowels of Disney, and I'm teaching Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse how to rap because we did a Disney record called Whoomp There It Went. Right? I'm teaching them how to rap. It's the husband and wife team, right? We have a good time. They teaching me animation, talking about animation. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good. But I'm Whoomp There It Is. My hubris as a young man was out of control. So I wasn't even thinking about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I beat myself up for years because I was there. I'm in Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse is putting me on game and I can't even see it. Right? So check it out. 1995, our manager is friends with the president of New Line Cinema. We in his office. New Line Cinema is brand new. I think they might have 2 movies under their belt.
Mm-hmm.
And we talking. It's like, man, we might want to audition you for this new movie. Wesley Snipes and LL Cool J are fighting for the lead. I was like, yeah, we'll talk to Pam. We'll take care of it because my hubris as a young man and I'm in the thralls of Whoomp There It Is, thinking it's gonna live forever and I'm gonna be a rap star forever. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, well, it's gonna be a big movie, vampire movie. It's called Blade. I beat myself up for years, but I never gave up.
Right.
Never gave up on voiceover. And then voiceover end up making me become an actor. Now I got 10 credits under my belt in 3 years. Tons of voiceover. Sometimes in life, just not ready, and that's okay.
Right.
But you don't give up. You go back to it. Right? So all last year I had a mentor because I wanted to get back into music production. And I'm trying to find people to help me. I'm taking courses, boom, boom, boom. I was like, you know what? I had to figure out what DAW I wanted to use because you got Pro Tools, you got all these different things. I'm like, man, it's different from back. You just had a drum machine, MPC 60, rock your stuff, go to the studio and rock it.
Right.
I landed on Studio One, right? And I love that platform, but I was like, let me reach out to the engineers because I seen their YouTube videos and I was like, hey man, I'm DC Tag Team, boom, boom, boom. How much you charge to mentor me? Teach me the game. Like, call me. It's like, oh man, the engineer, it's one of the engineers who worked on the software from the beginning. Said, I'll do it for this amount of money a month, an hour. I said, bet. We worked every week for a year. And he taught me that program inside out. And I recorded all those conversations. Now I got everything. So now I'm back in the music production when I can get to it. Right.
Right.
Because I know that I got to go to the horse's mouth. Right. And all you got to say is, please. You put, please help me. That's how I do my SEO mentors. That's how I do everybody. Please, I need your help, man. And what's it going to cost me? Nah, man, I got you. Because you ain't coming with no fluff and no bull. You just need help. Right. And that's how I've been successful in learning everything I do. And then I end up surpassing my masters. You see what I'm saying? And that right there is the hustle, dog. That's the hustle. You know, it sometimes in life we just not ready, but you just never give up and you keep fighting. You don't. I am relentless. There's a couple places I want to go in the world, right? And in a roundabout way, now I can go to those places because I just became Delta Diamond Medallion because I got a credit card because I'm trying to learn this credit card hustle and this credit hustle to where I know how to fix credit and all that, but how does credit? How do you mass credit in a way that any opportunity comes, you can fund it because you got $3 or $4 million in dollar lines worth of lines of credit all over the place. Right. So this purple card, Federal Express, American Express Reserve, they just give you 160,000 miles off the rip and give you another 60 miles if you meet this threshold. Just meeting these thresholds, now I get to travel anywhere in the world because I can upgrade to first class and I can go get my money. no matter where it's at, all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Tactics, never giving up, and then learning how to learn, man. And that's what organizations do for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in IEVA, International Entertainment Buyers Association, because everybody was telling me you only got one song, DC, because I wanted to go on tour again. And I was like, man, just put me on the roster. I was like, we Whoomp There It Is. Like, we don't know, man. Everybody gave me every reason why they shouldn't. I was like, you know what? How can I circumvent this? I joined IEBA. IEBA is where all the buyers are. In the concert business, there's the hierarchy. You got your buyers. Those are people who put on the tours. You got your Live Nations and the venues, right? Your
Mm-hmm.
iHeart Radios. Then you got your mom and pops, which are the same with the people that were telling me, DC, you only got one song, you can't do this. Then you got your managers, then you got your artists. I joined IEBA. I go to their convention. Me and Chubby Checker, the only black dude there. There's 5,000 people there. I got a big Whoomp There It Is t-shirt on. Everybody's coming to me. And they're like, so what do you do? What's up with you? And I'm like, hey, man, I'm DC from Whoomp There. I know who you are. I used to love you guys. Like, well, I'm just out here meeting people, networking. We got a clean 90s nostalgic rap show. Because I said clean and rap in the same sentence, their ears perked up.
Right.
Because if I just said I'm a rapper, they would have been like, oh no, we can't do that. The insurance is too high. They don't even touch rap.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But because I said clean rap, and I may have started meeting all these people from the Hard Rock Cafe, people from all these different promoters, and start meeting people. Then we started doing shows. Then I was my own agent, and then it was like, okay, I can't be my own agent and still hustle. So who's getting me the most shows? And then we went with a company called Pyramid, but I still hustle. So we went from doing maybe 6 or 7 shows a year to doing 40. You see what I'm saying? And joining that organization changed it because you cut out the middleman. And now I get to go straight to the buyer. Now these buyers know who I am. Then I'm in the same thing. I'm in NSA, National Speakers Association, PRSA, Public Relations Society of America. I'm in the Editorial Freelancers Association for Writers. I'm in the Grant Writing Association of America. Because I wasn't trying to write no grants. I just wanted to learn the grant game. How do grants work? Because most people think, man, you can't get no grants because they come from the government. It's too hard. I'm like, man, I ain't listening to you. Let me join the organization. Come to find out, 20% of those grants are from the government, but the other 80% are from every companies and everybody else. And there's 4,000 grants out there right now for me. So I get to, if I find a grant where I can go speak to disadvantaged youth or speak to disadvantaged people and put them on game like I'm doing right now and have my message out there and then get it funded, get all the transportation paid for, and then build this footage up to where I can go and blow and do the big stuff. That's brilliant because I don't have to write for it. I'm in a organization of grant writers who's making millions of dollars a year writing grants because they know how to do it, and I hire them. You got to think backwards, right? People don't do that. People don't. I'm like, I just joined. There's one called NATPE, NATPE, National Association of Television Production Executives, right? I'm on all these TV. If I can get appearances on all the TV shows, I can go to this. We can go perform in front of this whole organization and let them know, pitch them about we the one to do TV shows when you do a 90s night. All I need is 2 or 3. That lasts forever. Because if you're on something like Dancing with the Stars, that's syndicated worldwide. And not only is it syndicated to cable like it used to be, it's syndicated to all the streaming networks. So that SAG money and those residuals are always and forever.
Yeah. So
instead of looking at the glass half empty because I don't make the money that I think I should because I signed a messed up contract, I've turned that into I'm gonna make my own money because I got a forever hit record. Whoomp There It Is still mine. So it's just about you, how you approach things and how you think about things, man. That's it.
Yeah. So, okay, we're getting to a point of the show now. This is something I call flip the script. And what I do is I take the pictures that I sent you and I
Mm-hmm.
turn them upside down.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I turn them upside down, I'm going to tell you what I see.
All right.
So I'm really looking forward to this just because of the way that your mind works.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I tell you what I see, I want you to ask me a question based off of what I see.
All right.
And we can
Cool.
choose either one of these pictures.
All right.
We're going to do one, but I'll tell you what I see on both of these pictures. So the first
Mm-hmm.
one, so this one right here, you said you saw it was like an MRI before your
Mm-hmm.
back surgery. So that same picture upside down is here. Now, what
Mm-hmm.
I see, it looks like in the middle, it looks like I see two things. I can look at it and it looks like a woman's body, well, just the like from the neck down to the, I guess, like down to the hips.
Mm-hmm.
If I look away and then look back at the picture, then I see a flower in the
Mm-hmm.
middle. On the sides, it's going to get a little weird because on the side, it looks like some sort of elephant horse hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them, and there's two of them, and they look like they're about to put a boot on the shoulders of the woman.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I see in that picture. The second picture, you said you saw two seahorses about to duel.
Mm-hmm.
So that same picture upside down, to me it looks like a crab.
Okay.
Okay, so which one of these pictures you want to choose to ask me a question?
The first one.
Okay, all right. So I'll put it back up. All right. So what question do you have for me?
So, what makes you break it down piece by piece by piece as opposed to just seeing one thing?
Well,
Like you
when I
broke it
look
down
at
piece by piece by piece by piece, and then you looked away and then you just saw a flower.
right. So when I first look at these pictures,
Mm-hmm.
I try to see what I see in totality.
Mm-hmm.
And as I try to pull back, like I will actually like stand back and see if I can see something in totality. And if I can't, then I have to come in close and start to break it down.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I did that. Now, the part in the middle, I see the woman and then I look away, then I'll look back and then I'll see the flower. I think it's just for me, I feel like it's the mind's eye. The mind's eye is trying to figure out what things are. I
Mm-hmm.
look at these pictures the same way I look at life. And I can look at one thing one day and I'll see a particular thing or I'll feel a certain thing. I could come back days later and see something completely different or feel something completely different. So that the middle part of that picture actually is for me is the part that stands out the most and it represents me more because I can look at one thing. Also, I look at that as evolution as well. Five
Mm-hmm.
years ago, I didn't think the way I think now.
Of course.
So that's what that picture in the middle is for me. One day I'm looking at that and I see a woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just see that silhouette of that woman and she's curvy, and this actually kind of represents my life as well. When I was
Mm-hmm.
younger and I was just like all on women and just had a bunch of different women or whatever, that's what my focus was. But now that I'm married and at a different point in my life, I see this one woman as my flower,
Mm-hmm.
and this is who I'm growing with. This is,
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm deciding to water and pour into so that it can grow into something that's beautiful,
All right. Okay. No, I saw two angels playing on the fountain.
You said two angels playing on a fountain.
Yep. You know what
I'm
I'm
going,
saying? Like just that, it's almost like one of those it's like a statue. You know what I mean?
uh-huh.
Fountains in the middle. And
uh
the angels are just on the side playing whatever. They might be some bad body angels, but maybe some two fat angels, but that's kind of what I thought. They're like, where's the water?
Well,
But hey,
man, look.
man, I gotta get up out of here, man. I just want
Yeah.
to thank you for letting me come on here and run my mouth, man, because I know I just
Yeah, I
turned
was about to. I
the
was
whole
actually
program
about to
upside
end
down.
it. Well, man, look, I appreciate your time, man. I've had
Mhm.
I've had a ball. I've learned a lot, picked up a lot of gems. But before we go, is there, do you want to let everybody know anything that you have coming up, or how they can get in contact with you, or just, or anything? I don't know. I'm sure you probably don't want people, a whole bunch of people contacting you.
No. I made it easy. All you gotta do is type in tag team, DC Glenn, anything, and you're gonna
Okay.
find me. That's SEO, the ability to be found by anybody.
Right.
You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? So, like, if you really want to break it down, all my handles are the same. So DC Glenn ATL or tag team Whoomp.
Got you. Okay.
And that
Yep. Keep it
aggregates
simple and easy.
everything on the internet.
Okay. All right. So before we go, I got one more picture I'm gonna put up here. I want you to tell me exactly what you see.
All right. This podcast is so dope. Wait. Here we go. This podcast is so dope.
And I couldn't agree more. Thank you so much for your time, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the gems, man. And for everybody else out there, y'all be good to each other.
All right.